Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today we're talking about the best characters to use in the Doom Raid. Now, I've been running the Doom Raid for quite some time. This image is from the first time I did a full clear on a lane, which was the center lane. It was 149 million. But look, I've been basically clearing a full lane on a nightly basis on stream on Twitch, and my Twitch stream is linked below. And over time, I have developed a pretty good sense of which characters you're going to want to use in each section. I've been able to one-shot most of the nodes, and I'll walk through which nodes I've been able to one-shot and not. But more importantly, talk to you about which characters I use to run those nodes, to one-shot nodes, and so forth. So this way, you'll know what characters to build up, what characters to work on, and even if you aren't working on the Doom Raid yet, I think it's important to know what characters to invest in. And I'm specifically starting here in the bio section because I think it's very straightforward. The symbiotes are still the best team to use in the bio section. I really think there's no question that the full symbiote team is the best bet. They easily one-shot the first two nodes, at least at the strength I'm on, and I have been told, my symbiote team is pretty strong. I think it's about, let's see here, 649. But I've been told that by players who even have, let's say, 500k symbiotes, that they're able to one-shot the first two nodes, although they are putting it on auto at certain points just to make sure they don't time out. The boss node is considerably harder, and I think it is set up to make it not one-shottable with symbiotes. It's just very difficult. You have to really work hard to get it to be one shot. There are some folks I know who have come close and are kind of perfecting the exact kill order, but it's still not easy. Nonetheless, it's still a pretty safe two shot as long as you're very careful and know which enemies to target. So I still think symbiotes are the way to go. There are in the Doom Raid there are two lanes that come together to make that one boss node, and so two different people are going to be hitting the boss. So I think just going with symbiotes makes a lot of sense from an efficiency perspective. You could see my ISO setup here. I have Raider on a symbiote Spider-Man, although some people believe Skirmisher now is a better choice, particularly in Alliance War. I have Striker on Antivenom. I'm using Fortifier and Scream. Many people are using Striker on her. I have Striker on Venom and Skirmisher on Carnage. Now, there have been some people who have tried using Black Bolt and Yo-Yo instead of Venom and Carnage on the boss node. I think that's inferior to just running the complete symbiote team. So look, this is the team most of you have already worked on, and I think it is still a very good choice and the best choice for the bio nodes. All right, now let's talk about Mutant. And Mutant is also pretty straightforward. The first two nodes are one-shottable by the Astonishing X-Men pretty easily. The first node, there are people under 400k power who are able to one-shot the first node. The second node, with my current team, I'm able to one-shot, and that is, let's see here, at 526k power. But look, that means that I have a very big bishop with G15 set as striker. An important thing for that second node is to make sure that you're blinding the enemy bishops. So you really have to look and see which character has assist now, and make sure that if Jubilee is the one who is assisting, that you attack the bishop to make sure the bishop is always blinded. You also have to make sure to use those assists to remove taunt from Red Guardian so that you could target the enemies and be ready to kill Magneto as soon as he appears. And there will be a blob who's going to get taunt. You'll have to remove the taunt from him as well. For the final node, really the only way I have been able to figure out, and I should just say, by the way, for that second node, I also can one-shot it taking out Kitty and Iceman and replacing him with Longshot and Shatterstar. In fact, that's what I originally used. That team also works very well. But on the boss node, the only way I've been able to one-shot it, and I consistently one-shot it, is with Longshot, Shatterstar, Phoenix, Sinister, and Emma Frost. Sinister clones Longshot, and then you have two long shots. The passive here from Longshot gives instead of then 20 speed bar, because you have two different long shots. You get 40% speed bar, and basically the enemy never gets a turn. You just put it in auto. It's pretty easy. You could check. I'll link it below, but I previously did a Mutant Nodes guide video where I showed you me one-shotting all the nodes, so you could see that for yourselves. So Longshot and Shatterstar are a great duo in the mutant nodes. I also one-shot the first mutant node using Longshot, Shatterstar, Sinister, X23, and Emma Frost. That works very well too because X23 can ability block Doc Ock, and Sinister can clone him. So, there's really two different ways, in my view, to go for mutant. Either you go X-Men, which may make get you through the first two nodes, may make some issues for you on the on the boss node. With X Factor, if you go that route, I think especially once Multiple Man and Polaris come out, that team should be very strong on those, certainly on those first two nodes, and on the third node, the boss node, they're an easy one shot, even with just these two characters, as long as you have Emma Frost and Sinister. If you don't have X-Men or X Factor, I think it's going to be a challenge for you to get through these nodes. In the second node, I was able to use Phoenix and Colossus to some effect, but I really still was relying a lot on Longshot and Shatterstar for damage. So I really would recommend building up the X Factor and the X-Men team. All right, now let's talk about the Mystic nodes. Now look, if you have Doom, I think that really helps a lot of the Mystic nodes, but it's not really necessary for the one shot. I think really Doom is not necessary for these nodes. The team that I currently use is Silver Surfer, Thanos, Doom, Maw, and Hela. I think that is the best team. I can one-shot the first two nodes very easily. In the boss node, I'm close to one-shotting it, but not quite. Just time is an issue. I think I just have to perfect the kill order there. But if you don't have Silver Surfer, the best choice is Mordo, instead of Silver Surfer in that spot. If you don't have Doom or Silver Surfer, Mordo and Ghost Rider are the best in those spots. I really think that Doom is not necessary, and I could see, for example, Surfer and Mordo working with Hela, Thanos, and Maw as well. I think eventually Thanos will get dropped out. A lot of us are using him because we have him big for Arena, but I think that over time he'll be replaced. Potentially Ebony Maw as well, but there are a lot of hero controllers in the node, and so having him there to ability block them is useful and give everyone barrier when they die and immunity when they die. But with Silver Surfer putting the 2-turn ability block that Hela can spread, I really think. Given that Ebony Maw's cooldowns are long, I'm not sure how long he'll last here, but core members of the team are going to be Doom, Hela, and Silver Surfer. You might wonder about these other characters. I have a G14, G15. White Tiger's just okay. She just doesn't, get on a rampage here as much because the enemies have a lot of health, so, getting the killing blow is not easy. Moon Knight, is fine for putting a bunch of the debuffs you can spread around, but he's not excellent. Thor's not very good at all. The real stars that I don't have up are Mordo and Ghost Rider, but particularly Mordo, who offers a lot of control with Hela. Hela, of course, being an absolutely core character, arguably the best in this section. All right, let's talk about the tech nodes now that we are discussing Doctor Doom. Obviously Doctor Doom helps a lot, but really you can do these nodes without Doctor Doom. So I use this team right up here at the top. Doc Ock, Doom, Ghost, Minerva, Shuri. If you don't have Doom, you put Ultron in that spot. Some people have also been using Falcon instead of Shuri because it's for some of the nodes in particular. Falcon, the enemies get going slowly, so Falcon gives you a chance to get turn meter, which helps Ultron build bots. Also, some people have been using Scientist Supreme on the first node to, and doing well with her. But, these are the core characters. I think certainly Doom is the best. Doc Ock is really important as well. I do really like Shuri on these nodes. I do think she still retains value. So if you're considering her for DD4, she is, I think, still worth it because she's usable in all three of the Greek raids as well. So tech is, I think, pretty doable. There's a pretty limited roster here. It's basically these five and Ultron, and maybe to a lesser extent Falcon that you're going to want to consider here. Scientist Supreme. To me, I wouldn't bring up Falcon or Scientist Supreme just for the Doom Raid. I'd only use them if you already have them geared up and are missing one of these other characters. I think this is the best team. All right, now let's talk about skill. I think, I've been doing a lot of testing, and I know Reminex and others have as well, and I think we've really got a good idea of what the best skill characters are. Red Guardian is the most important character, and I'd get him as big as possible. The question is what ISO. I have him as healer. Some people are running him as skirmisher in order to make sure he lands his ability block on his ultimate. Which is this ability right here, because he does ability block, which can be helpful. I personally think the most important ability is right here. You're going to want to get the T4 on the special, so you're clearing negative effects off him, and then he is healing himself and all allies for 20% of the character's max health, which is just massive when you have him at G15. He's got a lot of health. Definitely a character you really need. He does work at lower gear levels and lower star levels. If you have him at 4-star, for example, he still works. There are people who are using him at level 75 G13 with 4 stars. Night Nurse, I'd say, is the next most important character. The T4s and these bottom ones are important. I would say Triage is potentially skippable, the passive, but you definitely need the special and the ultimate. You really want her to be big as well. She provides all the sustain. She has a cleanse. She has 2 different heals that she does. She gets turn meter. She heals herself. And so the question is, who do you pair them with? And there's some options there. I have found the best combo to be Zemo, Proxima, and Taskmaster. I do know some people who use Corvus with Proxima for more damage. Killmonger doesn't work all that well. He's just straight damage. Same with Corvus, in my opinion. This is just sort of buff, clear, and damage. This is just damage and some sustain. Some people like how Yelena does at G15. Nick Fury doesn't perform well. Hawkeye really is not worth bringing. I have a 7 red star G15 Black Widow. She's just okay. The problem is in the boss node, you really can't use Hawkeye and Black Widow because they're hero controllers. You're going to really not want to have them there given that Maw is on the node. And frankly, there's a lot of anti-blind throughout all of the nodes, so I just think that really hurts Hawkeye's viability. But you do want to have Taskmaster. He does do blind on Doctor Strange for the second node, which is important. And you'll have multiple ability blocks and stuns. Zemo can ability block the Doom on the boss node. Taskmaster stuns, Proxima Midnight stuns and turn rewinds. Between these, and then of course Zemo's got a stun. So, Zemo's got the ability block. So to me, you got a lot of control here, and you really have to kind of do a control game. Right now, no one that I know of has figured out the one shot on the boss node. And I've been running it every day and been trying to work on that. We're trying to get it down to like a 2-shot or sack plus 2-shot, that sort of thing. So this is still a bit of a work in progress. I do expect, a lot of people ask me, do I expect Scopely to introduce a skill rating team or a mystic rating team or whatever? I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. I have no inside information. Skill is definitely the one that needs a rating team the most. That said, Night Nurse is in a top-rated. Shadowland is arguably the best war offense team. Red Guardian is an amazing top 10 standalone character right now. So I wouldn't feel bad about leveling any of those characters up. I recently brought Night Nurse, Red Guardian, Zemo, and Taskmaster to G15 and didn't feel bad about any of them because they are so useful elsewhere. But for other nodes, if you're thinking about putting, let's say, bringing a Mordo or a character like that, I think you really have to seriously consider, perhaps waiting if you can get away with doing that and relying on other characters that you'll use elsewhere. All right. I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, please smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, check out our Discord below. We have a lot of discussion about Doom raids and about other just types of theory crafting, Alliance War, other things. We also have on our Twitch stream. I usually run the Doom raid, if not every night, most nights, and you can actually see me using teams in the node and how I one-shot nodes and all of that. And please, put your thoughts in the comments below. Happy to try to give you my tips and discuss what the right teams are for these nodes.